Welcome to the Set Apart Podcast. Today, we just don't have one guest, but two guests. We have Doug Hellman, the admissions manager for the Orange County Rescue Mission for the past 12 years. As well, he's a chaplain, helping young adults come into the rescue mission. There are people that are addicted to drugs, to alcohol, homeless, and he takes them in and he helps them out. And today we're gonna hear his incredible story. As well as Giovanni Kempis. He is currently one of the people who lives in the Orange County Rescue Mission, and we're gonna hear his incredible story. He's been in it for about 1 year and 5 months. Tune in and get ready because today we're gonna have two incredible stories.
Before Christ, I was living, I would say, a normal life. I had a job. I'm married. I have 2 kids. They're 10 and 8 years old. I would say I was pretty much living like a normal life. I was going through a custody battle with my ex-wife that took from 2016 to 2020 that we were going at it back and forth. It was really ugly. That took a lot out of me, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Also, my current wife, I wasn't there for her. As a husband, it was always, everything was about me, and I couldn't be there for her as a husband, and she was always there encouraging me to, keep going for the battle for the kids. After that, we end up finishing the custody battle, and we end up getting 50-50, that's what we wanted. And then something else happened. My current wife, her daughter, which she lives in Oklahoma, she gave birth to her grandson. She went in 2022 and visited her. From there, she decided that she wanted to be part of her grandson's life. So she ended up not coming back. And that broke me down completely. All those situations, I end up using meth. I've never had to use drugs in my life, and I was one day I would remember I was at work, and one of my coworkers introduced me to that. He said if I wanted to use it, and for the past, I would say 7-8 years, I was just not feeling good about myself, and I said, sure, let me try it. And that was the first time I tried it. It just made me feel different. Made me feel very powerful. It gave me something that I have never felt feeling that I have not felt in a long time. So after using meth, the first time I started using little by little, it would increase more and more after the months passed. I still kept my job. I would say for the next year and for the next 8 months, I was doing okay. Still under the influence, but it got worse. After the year, it got really worse. I started losing my mind. It got out of control. I told my ex-wife I can't take care of my kids anymore. So I stopped seeing my kids. I stopped going to work. I quit my job. And for the last 5 months of my drug addiction, I just stayed home. And I lost my mind there. I was using every day. And pretty much I didn't know who I was. And I lost myself.
Oh, gosh. Before knowing Christ, Doug was a meth addict. I used meth for 18 years. I was a criminal addict. I was into receiving stolen property and industrial burglary. And it wasn't a good place for me to be, but it was the only place I needed to be because of the addiction. I was raised in a law enforcement family, kind of groomed to be an LA County Sheriff's officer, and where all the men before me in my family were law enforcement. Where they went to the right, I went to the left. And it dragged me down a path of destruction and despair. 9,396 days ago, I walked into this building and asked for help. And I got it. I just wanted to get sober. At the time I was married and we had 3 children, and my wife asked me to leave because of the addiction. And I thought, okay, well, this gives me free rein to go on a pity party for myself, which I did. And after not sleeping for 10 days and not eating for 4, I was, as Giovanni said, losing my mind. I saw the sign here next to the thrift store that said Men's Recovery Home. And that's back when the church that was affiliated with the thrift store owned a men's home. And like I said, I just wanted to get sober, but I got saved. I was, well, let's say this, I'm banned for life from Costco. That's where I got in a lot of trouble. It's been 25 years since then, and I don't even know if the same loss prevention people work there. But if I went back and tried to fix that, then it wouldn't be as part of my testimony. Just moving lots of merchandise and stealing it and using it for drug money. I really don't like to go into too many details about that because I don't want to give anybody any ideas. I was also into money counterfeiting on a small scale, and that was primarily for drugs. And a lot of things that if I had gotten caught, I would have probably been doing significant prison time.
Well, I had money saved in my savings, so I would say I was when it came to money, I was okay. I still had money saved in my bank account. I started meeting a lot of people, hanging out with a lot of people that I never thought I would hang out or talk to. I met so many people out there, not good people, and they would, since I had an apartment, they would come and they would just provide the drugs, and I wouldn't have to pay as well for it. So, because we would use drugs in my apartment. Well, after being using for a year and 4 months, of course, I felt soulless. I felt I was in a dark place, and but yet still, even though I felt dead, I still felt like a little bit inside of me, like alive. Something was still there, and I would here and there I would ask God to please get me out of it, but I just couldn't quit. I couldn't quit the drugs. I couldn't. It was so strong, but what ended up changing was that I ended up getting evicted from my apartment. So I ended up on the streets, and that's when I was like, okay, the reality really hit me, and I started looking for help, and that's where I contacted Pastor Rich and ended up talking to him, and he's the first one to start talking to me about God. So when I got evicted, the sheriff department gave me all these numbers of resources. So I started calling every single place, and nobody answered my calls but him, but Pastor Rich. That's how I got his number from the resources. He said that he did have a place for me, and but then again, when I was talking to him, I was still under the influence, and he asked me, "Are you right now on meth?" And I said no to him, but I know he knew that I was on the influence, and he just gave me like that smile, and he said, I do have a place for you. It's a men's place, but I have something better for you. And that's where he's like, I'm gonna take you to the Orange County Rescue Mission. And that same day he took me there to interview with Doug.
My kids were attending Nelson Elementary School here in Tustin, and I saw my daughters, twin daughters. They were 7. Playing on the playground, And I knew I wasn't in their life. And I knew I had to be. That's why I came and interviewed for the men's home. And the following Sunday, I was at church interviewing still, and Pastor Rich gave an invitation at the end of this sermon. And I don't know, but I raised my hand and wanted Christ in my life. And after that was done, he said, these two pastors are going to pray for you over in this other room. And I followed them as Pastor Don and Pastor Peter. And we went in a room and we started praying. And Peter, I can tell you, he was from Kenya, and he was very, very enthusiastic. And he was driving that prayer home. And I could feel the prayer warriors in this room. And my tears were streaming down into my Bible. And all of a sudden I felt this massage in my shoulders. And I went, all right, these Christians are cool, but now it's getting a little weird. and I could feel the stress leaving my body. And when we said amen, I thought, I need to turn around and see who this was. I was up against a wall. There was nobody behind me. What I felt was the Lord. And I shared that with Peter and Pastor Don, and Peter was even more on fire at that point. I thought, that's what I want. I want that. I want what this guy has. And I got it. Yeah. Yeah, I love the scripture, Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. And I still use that example today, as there's the anvil, the hammer, and the raw steel that's being pounded. Well, that steel's me. And the anvil is the foundation. And the blacksmith is the Lord, because he's got the hammer in his hand. And he's pounding me into something raw to something beautiful. And I always like to use the example of a sword, chrome, shiny, sharp, and durable. And that refining process of him refining me into a servant for him, getting rid of the old, becoming the new creation. I always keep that in my mind. That's what it looks like to me. And you're right, it wasn't easy. It was very hard. Surrendering is, but it's the only way to win the war.
So they took me to the Orange County Rescue Mission, and I did the interview there with Doug, and a week later I was admitted into the program. And for me, I was in the process of detoxicating from the drugs and stuff like that. And we had church on a Saturday night, I remember, and we were doing there was a service. We were doing worshiping, and I remember that night, I really gave myself to God. That night I just started crying, asking for forgiveness. Just like Doug said, I felt like a lot of peace inside of me. Like, for the past, I would say 10 years or 8 years, I haven't had peace in my life. I felt like I haven't had any peace in me, but this night was different. I feel like all these tensions that I had in me, all these inside of me, I felt like a big lift out of my body. The program is a year and a half to 2 years, I believe. It depends on the situation of the student. So right now I am currently, I'm already working. No, actually my kids, they stay with me in the Orange County Rescue Mission. They stay with me every other weekend. The Rescue Mission gives me that opportunity for me to have them there with me, and that's a blessing. I never lost custody of my kids. So actually, my ex-wife, ever since I've been in the program, she changed a lot with me. Our relationship, it's really, really good. Our co-parenting is so good. She's been very helpful as well. bringing my kids, and we have no problems. Everything is just going smooth.
Yeah. Well, he restored my family. We now have 4 kids. They're all adults. We've been married for 33 years. I went back to college at 40. Became a drug and alcohol counselor. Worked in the field for about 23 years now, and worked in domestic violence ministry, worked in drug and alcohol counseling. I worked in a secular agency for 3 years, waiting and praying for the position to open up at the Orange County Rescue Mission. And 12 years it did. I've been there 12 years now. I'm heavily involved in Celebrate Recovery, which is a Christ-centered 12-step group. It's 35 or 36 years old, started at Saddleback Church. All of my sobriety time is with Celebrate Recovery. I've helped start 7 Celebrate Recovery groups globally. Furthest one in Sri Lanka in Asia. It was beautiful. It's still beautiful. And currently I'm on the Celebrate Recovery leadership team at Trinity Presbyterian Church. And I'll be sharing my full testimony on Monday night there. So it's kind of a unique opportunity to do this today. I've had some medical issues happen that I've had to add to my testimony, which I say it that way because God wanted my attention. There was something that I wanted to do, and I told him about it, and I didn't do it. So he got my attention. About 18 months ago, I fell and compressed my spinal cord in my neck. Had emergency surgery. 12 weeks later, I'm back at work. So I recover very well from things like that. In April of last year, I started a process having my Achilles tendon repaired and had 3 surgeries, April, May, and June, and nearly lost my foot because of it, because of an infection. And it's still healing today. We're almost 8.5 months. But what God wanted my attention was to become a chaplain. So when I was in my downtime of 5 months at home with my ankle healing, I went back to school, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a glorious opportunity with other believers to find out how we can help on a deeper scale. Having the drug and alcohol certification, that's wonderful. Being a Christian that has that's even better. But then bringing the chaplaincy into it, there's so many different avenues where I can give service. With hospital visits, with recovery, you name it, we can do it. And I don't know what I've got next. I don't know what he's got for me next. Different avenues. I'm open to anything. And I look forward to going to work every day because I get to help people like Giovanni, men, women, and children. I help people get their kids back, which is a beautiful thing to see. And, God doesn't need us. He wants us. He doesn't need us to do this work. He can do it on his own. He wants us to do this work. And we're called to do that. And we all work in a common vineyard at the Rescue Mission where there's many people that do counseling, case management, cooking, being with children, mentoring, helping people in job search phase. There's so many different areas that the mission provides. And it's a beautiful thing if we just get out of the way and let God lead and we follow.
Before knowing God, I think I was very angry at the world. I was a very unhappy person. But now, I feel different. I want to live. Before sometimes I felt like I didn't want to live, but now I just want to live. I want to live for my kids. I want to be a father. It's just making, the Lord has made my life, He changed my life in a way that I don't know how to explain it. It's a beautiful thing that I feel that now anything that happens now in my life, I take it differently now. It's more, I give it to God and let Him lead me to whatever it's gonna be, and just accept it. As long as I just keep doing what I need to do.
Yeah, closing word would be don't quit before the miracle happens.
Trust in the Lord, believe in the Lord, and He will make things happen.
Well, we have come to the end of our Set Apart podcast. Doug's story, Giovanni's story is powerful. So I'm going to ask you just one last favor. Like, share, and like our Set Apart page in YouTube and share it. Share it in all social media because there's someone out there who's struggling with addictions, who's struggling with domestic violence, and that someone needs to hear their stories. So please do that. Until next time.